Let's get started. I would like to introduce KYZEN's Regional Manager, Eric Bromley.
Thank you, Sherry, and welcome everyone. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your morning or day with us here today. Today I'm just going to talk briefly about remanufacturing cleaning of steel parts and what some of the pitfalls may be. We're going to be focusing mostly on steel parts, and there will be other tech-to-tech sessions that are more specific to aluminum parts, and I suggest you sign up and check those out as well. First off, there's many types of we'll be starting with automotive primarily, because that seems to be the largest market for us. There are multiple types of parts configurations, different base materials, steels and aluminum, and all different casting materials. Within these parts, there may be sleeves or pins of different materials for alignment and staking pins and things of that nature. Blind holes and fine pitch threads can also be very difficult to clean. Blind holes especially, because they may go very deep and have very fine pitch threads as well. It makes it very difficult to clean. One of the difficult areas to clean off, and one of the difficult materials to clean off rather, is burnt on carbon. And this is mostly in the automotive, the engine compartments, of course, but there's also can be buildup of this material in brake parts and automatic transmission, things of that nature, as well as grease and oil buildup. This can build up, and as it gets used and contaminated and hard, it actually can almost turn to like a pitch-like in some areas, and it's very difficult to remove. And among all those other things, there's also road dirt and the unknown contaminants that will collect on parts and components, especially when they're subjected to the environment. Some of the basic cleaning processes, the most common is probably the heated spray under immersion tanks, where there is a pump that actuates nozzles or some kind of a spray agitation on the tank itself. Some of these also have added ultrasonics, but this is really dependent on what you're cleaning in these tanks. Ultrasonics will do a good job on parts that are fixed in a certain position, but typically large baskets of parts that are just put in there kind of random, it'll have a difficult time getting into the center part of that mass, just because of the amount of size and the absorption rate of the ultrasonics. Rotation and agitation is also very popular. Rotation is more like a slow-moving bingo wheel, if you can envision that, where the parts are slowly rotated under immersion during the spray process, which helps to not only release any entrapped air, but it also allows flushing action in and out of some of these small vias. Agitation is also a very common process, where the parts are, the basket or the parts themselves are moved up and down in the tank as the spray is working. Spray and air systems are also fairly common. These are referred to as a cabinet type spray washer, where the parts are set in on a rotating basket, and the spray manifolds are wash, rinse, and many of them also have a blow off dry as well. Media blasting is also a fairly common cleaning process, where you would use corn cobs or some kind of a media, baking soda, things along these lines, that are either blended with high pressure air or water and cleaned off surfaces. Many times the media blast process is followed by an immersion or another cleaning process. Some of the pitfalls with these types of cleaning applications are, of course, incomplete cleaning. That's the most difficult one, because after that you may be forced to do further manual cleaning or send the parts back through the process again, which costs time and money, and no one wants to waste either one of those. Flash rusting or corrosion can often be a problem, of course, with ferrous materials, steel and castings, things of that nature. If the rinse or the dry is not really complete, then there may be some droplets of water or puddles that are entrapped somewhere, and they flash off, and they can leave rust or staining and things of that nature. Pitting on the parts, that can happen if you use a cleaning chemistry that is too aggressive for the material. This would mostly be relative to aluminums or the yellow metals, copper and brass and things of that nature. Typically, you don't get a lot of pitting on steel, but it still could happen. Speck damage to the surface, this would be more and specifically with engine components and transmission parts where the surfaces need to be very close fitting, cylinder heads and valve bodies and things of that nature. You could risk damaging them. There's also a concern of clogging of the threads and the galleys. This can be done with the media material or some of the material that's not completely cleaned out. You can get into these threads. The galleyways in many engine components and transmission, they'll have a 90-degree turn halfway down, so it makes it very difficult for the fluid to get in there and clean and to also get out. And along that same lines, plugged fluid passages, these would be bigger openings for coolant and fluid passageways that could possibly get plugged and can be very difficult to clean. Redeposition of the semi-solids, this would be once the greases and oils are removed from parts, they are soluble or semi-soluble in the wash bath, and you could risk redepositing them onto the parts either through the cleaning excuse me, or as you draw them through the surface of the bath to take them out. Oil and grease entrapment can be another issue. Heavy oil and grease, primarily on transmission or brake parts or things that are outside of the car or truck or vehicle, where oil and grease gets on and dries on, and it almost has like a pitch kind of a consistency, and it can be very difficult to remove. Some of the methods that we found to improve these cleaning issues is, most importantly, is to match the chemistry to the requirement. It's very important that you have a chemistry that is strong enough to do the work for you to clean the oil and greases and the carbon and the stains, but you also don't want it to be so aggressive that it could damage the parts themselves. So it's important to match the chemistry to the requirement. Optimize the cleaning process is very important. All of us here at KYZEN, we work very hard with our customers to help them optimize their cleaning process. And that means not just the cleaning concentration, but the correct pressures and the correct times, cycle times, temperatures. It's all encompassing. There are many things that are involved. And by keeping these things in check, you'll maintain the cleaning process. Keeping the rinse clean, that is also very important. You're only as clean as your last rinse. And the rinse can get soiled from carryover on the wash tank, and it can just get dirty from washing off the chemistry from the wash process. So that is very important. There actually is another tech-to-tech seminar that we have done regarding some tips on improving cleaning. I recommend you check out our website and click on the tech-to-tech link, where you'll see all of the previous presentations, and hopefully they'll be helpful for you. And lastly, you want to use a chemistry with added protection to help against any kind of corrosion or darkening of the parts or pitting. Again, that kind of goes with the first one and matching the chemistry to the requirement, but it's also very important. Some of the considerations to help with keeping the cleaning good is certainly filtration. That is very key, especially with gross cleaning of automotive parts. The wash bath can get very heavily loaded very quickly with not only soluble greases and oils, but just dirt and contaminant. So it's important to get that, keep the tank as clean as possible. Temperature can be a key too. You want the temperature of the wash bath to be hot enough where you are able to thin out and solubilize the oils and greases, and also be able to soften the outer layer of that carbon, so the pores of the carbon actually open up and allows the chemistry to get in underneath it and start working and clean it off. Another big consideration is the rinsability of your wash chemistry. You need to have a chemistry that not only cleans well, but rinses very well. All of the KYZEN Metal-Nox chemistries are very miscible in water, so they rinse very, very well. And lastly, a major concern for us is worker safety and environment. It's very important that the chemistries that you're using to do this operation is safe for your operators and safe for the equipment as well, and the environment. You don't want to have something that costs a lot of money to have to monitor and then pay to have it disposed of, and you certainly don't want to affect the environment. So basically, in summary, match the chemistry to the equipment. That's very important. Requirement, rather. I'm sorry. That's very important. Have adequate filtration. That's also very important to maintain the wash bath and keep it running as long as you can. Maintain process control, very key. We have many customers that very much appreciate our help and helping them to maintain and get a nice steady process control. With all of these things, they will equal out to a winning process, and that's really what's key here for everyone. So thank you for your time today. Would like to mention that for reman cleaning for aluminum will be presented by my counterpart Scott Kane on February 11th. And I invite you all to please join in and listen to Scott's presentation as well. And that's all I have. I'll turn it back to Sherry for any other questions. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Eric. Great job. If you would like to discuss this topic further, please contact your local KYZEN regional manager or send an email to tech@kaizen.com. And we will have one of our cleaning experts schedule a follow-up with you as soon as possible. Again, we thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great day.